Hello everyone. I have brought forth a story I name Bonds Thicker Than Blood from a series I hold dear. And while this is my fourth work, this is my first work to make it to YouTube as an audiobook. What you are going to listen to is the music version where instrumental songs, mostly VGM, will play in the background along with subtitles. To those who are reading along with the subtitles, the four main characters will be color-coded when speaking. Their name and color will appear at the start of each chapter. If you wish to listen without the music for a more relaxing experience, there will be a link in the description for a musicless version. And if you would rather read it at your own pace, you can read the entirety of Bonds Thicker Than Blood at Javier the Great at AO3. Link will also be in the description, as well as the music used in the video. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Chapter 7. Isamu darts behind a large, dark tree where the others are hiding. Covering himself with the overgrown branches which reach the ground, his body is violently shaking as he's fully submerged like a scared kid in a blanket. "Are they gone?" Aziza whispers as he responds with a harsh hush. From behind the tree, a loud, abhorrent buzzing sound closes in. The group peeks their head out, and before them is a horde of giant wasps. They are sunset orange with black bristled stripes and the size of a small child. Several swarm the area, and they sound like a brutal wind tearing through the air. "Why did you have to kick that tree?" Hotaru whispered, her anger building as she glared at her brother. "I'm sorry, sis. I was hoping it would be a good workout." "Well, you got what you wished, because now we're in the middle of nowhere after running for so long, and they're still here." "Ease yourself," Fadir interrupted, surprisingly calm. "The ruins shouldn't be far now. If we can escape unnoticed, we should be fine." "And how do you propose we do that?" He shrugs. "Great," Hotaru thought. "Wait, I have an idea," she immediately said, sparking a glimpse of hope for the others. "What is it?" Isamu questioned with a sign of hope on his face. "You just have to trust me." She takes her hands and pushes him out from the tree. "Hey, what are you doing?" The aggressive buzzing grows and Isamu turns around. Dozens of orange wasps approach him with quick speed. Their ink-black stingers, sharp like a sword, lunge forward. He screams and places his scrawny arms above his head to protect himself with what little resistance he has. Meanwhile, Hotaru raises a hand and it glows with a red aura. An intense heat surrounds her skin, and it grows with every second. "I see what you're doing. Let me help," Fadir adds as he raises his hand with hers. Just like hers, a red life engulfs it, and with a swift motion like a dance, they place their hands forward. Two balls of fire launch forward towards the army of wasps. As it travels, they combine into a large radiating orb, burning the grass below. It flies past Isamu and collides into the first row of wasps. They crash to the ground, squirming as the light in their disgusting eyes fade out. A wall of fire bursts from their combusting corpses and blocks the rest. Isamu reveals his eyes to the horror with his mouth agape. A war-torn battlefield of destroyed nature lies before him, along with the exploding wasps or the crackles of blazing fire which sounds like bombs. "Let's hurry," Hotaru shouts, grabbing her brother who is mesmerized by the destructive creation. The rugged hills come to an end, and the peaceful open plains return. No monsters are in sight, and they nearly fall to the vibrant grass to catch their breath. Isamu pants as he talks. "Where did you both learn to do that?" "I don't know," she said. "I thought it would take out one and at least scare them off." "That was your plan? Hoping they would be scared of a fireball? Well, it worked, didn't it?" Fadir sighs as their voices grow louder, and Aziza walks next to him. Even out of breath, they find a way to argue. "I know that far too well, but it was surprising how only 2 fireballs created that. You know magic, right? Any reason for that?" "I couldn't tell you. Maybe something like the melding of magic? Either way, I knew I had to help, and it felt like my body was moving on its own." "Must be your natural instinct to help," Aziza suggested, examining the plains around her. "There has to be more to it," he pondered. "There is no record of the chapel tomes mentioning magic combining together. Something or someone else caused that to happen. It only adds to the strange sensation I've been feeling. Since his departure from Reeve, the back of his skull has been burning as if someone was behind him, waiting for an opportunity to strike. At first he thought the wasp were the cause of his paranoia, yet it still remains. Like a hidden sense, he turns away from the arguing siblings to look out towards the entrance of the forest, with black smoke spewing from the top like a volcano. As he looks towards the nearby foliage, he watches as a blue and green bird flies to a nest hidden deep within a lone tree. Even with the recent fire, which has completely died, the bird remains calm, and the grass looks brighter and healthier than ever. Lastly, there is a strange but faint smell of honey. Aziza awakens Fadir from his state, turning him around and pointing out something in the distance, opposite of the forest. I'm guessing that's the ruins. Fadir turns his head, and across the plain is an old structure of stone. Most likely. Should we tell them? Fadir faces back to find them still arguing, jumping up and down like upset toddlers. Nah, they'll know, he said as he steps towards the ruin with Aziza sticking close. Kotaro raises her voice. I wasn't trying to kill you. If I was, I would have sent that fireball into your thick skull. She spins to find the others walking off in the distance. Hey, wait for us! Together they run and easily catch up to them. Once in reach, the destroyed ruins lie before them. There is only a partial roof which appears unstable, and many of its broken pillars that would hold it are covered in dark vines. Each step further in, their loud footsteps echo on the stone. Thankfully the light is plentiful, but still, an ominous air flows throughout the structure. A corner they must turn comes to view, but a quiet grunt echoes from beyond. It's deep and ghostly, like an ancient spirit haunting the building. Sounds of steel slam into rocks, and the grunts grow louder. They look at each other, nervous of the monster that lies ahead. Peeking around the corner, and something unlikely stands far off in this abandoned place. Next to two stone statues that look ready to crumble to a light touch, a sweaty middle-aged man with a heavy pickaxe is muttering with each swing that connects into the fortified wall of fallen stone. Those doubters at Reeve, he muttered to himself. What do they know? They constantly complain about, oh, it will never work, or you're in over your head. Well, I won't be one of you losers who stays here whining about the state of the world. I'm gonna create a path back to the mainland even if it kills me. Forget relying on a king who only cares for himself, living safely in that beautiful castle. Excuse me? Kotaro softly asked. With a high-pitched scream, he freezes in place and stops his rambling. He jumps forward like a frog, throwing his pickaxe into the air and sticking it into a nearby statue. He places his hands together, looking at the sky. Please forgive me, spirits. I wish you no harm. From his speech, I would have expected him to be more hardened to the outside danger. It seems many people in Reeve share the same sentiment towards the king. Every encounter with the townspeople teaches her how grateful she should be for living behind Alihan's town walls. He slowly turns his head to find the four of them staring at him with wide eyes. Silence fills the air. His face is bright red and sweaty like a tomato that was freshly watered. Who are you kids? We come from Alihan, and we wish to get to the mainland, Kotaro answered. Oh. Well, sorry to say, but the path is blocked. We see that. And what are you doing here? Same as you, getting to the mainland. They tried to keep it a secret, but I know the truth. A portal to the mainland exists beyond this wall, and with my trusty pickaxe, I'm so close to seeing the fruits of my labor. He points to the completely covered wall. And how long have you been at this? 6 months. They flinch and shout in unison. You've been here for 6 months? He scratches his head with his finger. Yeah. Can't help but commemorate his willingness. But from the bees we just saw, doing anything to be as far away as possible sounds like the only logical step, even if it were to be a risk. This might help speed up the process, Kotaro said, focusing on his middle-aged face as he pondered. Kotaro hands over the wrecking ball. He carefully holds it as he inspects the device. Hotaru looks to them for advice, but all they do is shrug as they stare at each other. This is it! The wrecking ball! Thank the goddess for bestowing the answer to my prayers before my hands. Thank you! He screamed, startling everyone else. This bad boy will bring us to the mainland no problem. He sets it down and immediately alights the device. It ticks and he sprints off like a skittish cat. Hey, you could have said something, Hotaru shouted as they joined him behind the wall. The ticking from the wrecking ball rapidly increases and it explodes with a harsh white light. The ruins quake, leaving everyone wobbling as they attempt to keep their feet planted on the ground. The statues disintegrate, and once silence returns, they peek their head to find a wall of dust ahead. The middle-aged man skips into the cloudy aftermath, shouting praises to the goddess. You know, he kind of reminds me of you, Isamu said, turning his head towards Fidir. And from the way he was kneeling over reminds me of you. Can you remember? You really have upped your comeback game, he complimented, and Fidir smirks. I learn it from the best. He raises his hand, and Isamu smacks it with his as their high five echoes, sounding like an aftershock. Hotaru shakes her head towards Aziza before they push through the abundant dust. They shield their eyes and cover their mouths. The dust finally left behind, and the joyous middle-aged man from before lays on his knees before a pristine red familiar door. Why? He yelled. Why have you forsaken me? Why do you toy with me? He screams like a man who has seen the horrors of war. His eyes filled with tears as he crashed on the ground like a fallen soldier. Hotaru walks past the pathetic man to reach the door, grabbing the handle and turning it reveals it to be locked. A closer look at the door, and despite the ruins being covered in a dead gray, the door shines with a bright red, standing out beyond anything she has ever seen. Her eyes widen as Roy's helpful words fill her mind. From a small red bag she holds close to her chest, she pulls out the rusted key. They are unlike each other and fill her mind with doubt, but she takes the key and places it into the small lock. The noises it makes are unpleasant, and with a wrong turn, the key feels ready to snap. With another risky turn, a satisfying click echoes in the small room, rejuvenating the fallen man. They all watch as the door slowly opens on its own to reveal a blue swirling circle on the floor. Its color is like the ocean, but emits no sound, constantly spinning in a spiral. The small room otherwise is completely empty to where it's more akin to a cell. The middle-aged man screams again. Thank you, goddess. I will never doubt you again. You have my word. He pushes past Hotaru. Mainland, here I come. The moment he plants his body on the portal, his body spins and splits into thousands of colorful particles, disappearing without a trace of his being. What just happened? She frantically thought, hiding her fear and confusion from everyone. The others stepped forward, staring at the spiraling portal, nervous of its power. We will be okay, right? Fidir muttered, carrying a different moral when it comes to expressing fear. I mean, if he jumped in without a care, I would think it's safe, Aziza answered to the best of her ability. Hotaru looks at the group. Should we go in at the same time? Nonsense. Let me show you how it's done, Isamu interjected with a wide grin on his face. He sauntered over to the entrance. However, his legs don't keep the illusion of fearlessness like his face does. With a deep inhale, he jumps straight to the center, and just as the middle-aged man, he disappears without a trace. Fidir stops in place with his mouth wide open, his color washed and his quivering lips struggling to find words. Aziza takes his hand. We will go together. Hotaru grabs his other hand. When you get anxious, remember to count. He doesn't answer. However, he closes his eyes and his lips are moving without any sound. Carefully, they walk him to the portal. In unison, they step and a beautiful blue light envelops her. She watches as her friends slowly disappear from their feet. Her sight and her head spins like a top, stomach twisting to the fast motion. She looks down to her hand that clutches her stomach. helplessly watching it fade. She can't feel the beating of her heart as it's gone, yet she is conscious. Turning her head, Fadira's face vanishes, and hers soon follow.